at Surah Nuh. And instead of starting over, a new, we call it a new juz, I just find it wise that we shall continue from where we stopped. So we stopped on Surah 71, Surah Nuh or Noah, ayat 1-3. So those of you all who have the Quran can find yourselves there, and we will start with this recitation. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim.
Has created you in stages.
Hold on.
And give you increase in wealth and children, and provide for you gardens.
Okay, we start now with this surah, ayah 13.
What is the matter with you that you do not attribute to Allah due grandeur?
So he says, Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, wassalatu wassalam ala Rasul al-Kareem. So on Surah 13, ayah 13, it says that, and what is the matter with you? What is the matter with you? Malakum. Okay, la tarjuna lillahi wa qaran. Okay, what is the matter with you that you did not? Now, if we remember, let us go back a little. If we remember, in the earlier verses in Surah Nuh, Allah spoke about all the different things that he had done and all the different things that he do. And he's reminding us, it come like if you did so much for somebody and like they don't realize how important what you have done for them. So Allah is sort of in a reproaching manner. Okay, in a reproaching manner. Okay, let's go back to what he mentions for us. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the context, let's go back to the context. Okay, he says that, so Noah said that I call them openly and I call them publicly. I call them in private and I call them otherwise, urging them to seek forgiveness from their Lord. Remember, this is Surah Nuh. It's about Noah. And for he is ever forgiven. Then Noah is saying now, he will send you abundant rain from the sky, bestow wealth and children upon you, and grant you gardens and rivers. Okay? So all these things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that he will do or has done for the people of Noah. Okay? The only thing is that the rain that was the rain that was to come, they didn't expect it to be a flood. Okay? He used the same blessing became a curse for them. So he says that he has given you abundant rain from the sky, which means you can grow crops, you can develop your own communities, you can build civilizations, right? And then he says, and he have bestowed upon you wealth and children. Okay, because the purpose of all of this is to continue your generations. You work, you establish property, you establish wealth, which you pass on to your children. And he has given you gardens and rivers. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ma'alakum. what is wrong with you? Right? What is wrong with you? After seeing all of that, after knowing all of that, hasn't something touched your senses? Don't you realize that something is operating favorably towards you? So he says, Malakum, what is wrong with you? Why don't you, okay, not look with hope to Allah, okay, and towards His Majesty? Okay, what it means here is that it goes both ways. The first way it goes, that Allah is saying that after all of that, okay, why don't you give Allah a proper estimate? You estimate Him with reverence and in a proper way, right? And that He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, is worthy of majesty. And that's the first way. The other way is that this same creator who is doing all these things, right, is looking favorably towards you. Okay, so that is what we call rububiyah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the word Rab don't really mean a Lord. Because we are Lord Kitchener, we are Lord this, we have landlord, the word Lord really is a master, but it also means a sustainer. So Allah says that He's the one that will sustain you. Right? So you look at His greatness, but you do not give it its proper reverence. And also Allah Himself is giving you reverence and consideration by providing all these things for you. This is the dynamics in this verse. Because if you look at the Arabic of it and the tafsirs that has come to us on this verse, you'll understand that it goes both ways. Okay, and it is something that we don't really appreciate as human beings. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, what He has done for us, whether in our intelligence, whether in our health, whether in our happiness, that He has paid attention to you. Out of His majesty and His bounty, He has looked towards you. Okay? And in a way to, out of all the things that He done in the world that is general, there's a level of a personal aspect in it, in the sense that He Himself has considered you. Just as He had considered us with resources, wealth, with oil, cement, bauxite, all these different things. The problem in the world is not that the world don't have enough resources, That's not the problem in the world. The problem in the world is inequality. And that inequality comes from the people that Allah put in charge of the resources. Okay? The people who Allah has put in charge of the resources are not distributing the resources in the proper way. That is the problem. And for that, they will have to pay. And for that, Allah gave you, as a Muslim, okay, the duty now to enjoin the right and forbid the wrong. You as a Muslim should be a watchdog for the resources that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put on the earth to make sure that it reach the people. Right? And that is not always done with guns and bombs. Right? It could be done with mobilization. There are many other methods before we reach that. Okay? But what we are saying now, the Muslim cannot sit down on his butt, male or female, and just let the society go wherever it wants to go, and dies them. No, it's you, right? Just the definition of being Muslim, right? Allah, you are a caretaker, and has nothing to do with whether you're in power or you're not in power, right? You are supposed to enjoy the right and forbid the wrong, because when the punishment comes, whether you pray in 100 rakats at night, fasting 100 days in the year, you will still be punished along with the people. But Allah will raise you up differently than them. Why? Because you did not carry out your social. We have a spiritual duty, and also we have a social duty as Muslims. So, and in this sense, that Allah says that we are the best people raised for mankind. And why we are the best? We are the best not because we're Muslims. Okay? We are the best because you are what? You're enjoying the good and forbid the wrong. This is what Allah says. He didn't just say you are best because you're Muslim. And this is what happened to Bani Israel. This is what happened to the people we call the Jews, the children of Israel. What happened to them is that Allah chose them for a function, and they failed. But they still keep the idea that they are the chosen people. He didn't choose them because they had a nice face or a nice hair. He chose them because he had given them a duty to be imams and priests for the whole world, and to bring people to the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they went and do their own thing and still consider themselves chosen. And Muslims do that. We look down on the non-Muslim. The word is kafir. Kafir is not a pejorative word. It just means somebody who disbelieves, somebody who's ungrateful. But you say the word kafir in a kind of pejorative. You're them kufar and them, right? And we say it like that, and we think that we are so much better than them. Yes, we accept Islam. Yes, but what about the next part? To be best. To be best. Okay, so enjoying the right, and to prevent the wrong with your mouth, hands, and with your heart. Okay, because today we see the world we live in, there's an attack on the hearts and the minds of people. Okay, they are pushing sexual deviance, they are pushing a lot of sexual things, they are pushing materialism, they are pushing secularism, they are pushing homosexuality. And all of these things are directed to the heart. We don't want it to be homosexual, but just accept it. We don't want it to be, okay, you could be a religious person, but just accept secularism. Minimize religion, minimize Allah. You see? So, to say that you don't have the power is not enough. Because if you notice, there are people out there who practice witchcraft, okay? And yet, they practice witchcraft, they send in spirits here, they do all kind of thing, giving people big foot, big belly, all kind of mischief they're doing, creating rift between man and wife and all these different things. You ever notice, I've always noticed that despite that the most powerful sorcerer or witch or be a man, he could always be arrested by the police. How come? You have all these jinns and all these things, but yet the police can arrest him and put him in jail. You think about that? Because Allah give anybody is in charge, whether it is good or bad. Okay? It is Allah put that person in charge. Okay? So those kind of forces will not affect that person. Why? Because Allah has put that person in charge. And until the time for that person to be removed from power, there is nothing like those elements to remove him. Right? and to reform that power that Allah gives that person, the governments or the world, right, is we have to qualify, right? And sometimes Allah might just allow you, not to, although you qualify, Allah might not allow you. Okay, like for example, we have the situation in Gaza, so how come we are winning? Because Allah has decreed Israel to exist for a certain amount of time. And Allah has given the believers the right to defend themselves. Right? So it's up to him to determine the outcome. Will he cut short what he has given them and give the believers the victory? Or he will just take matters? See, and that we don't understand. So I have read where some sister reject Islam because she find that why are Muslims suffering like that in Israel? Because she don't understand. Right? Anybody in power, Allah say, give power to what? Who he wills. And he take power from who he wills. So in dynamics of giving power, Allah set up checks and balances with the believers. Okay? To tackle that situation. And if they don't do it, it won't stop the people from engaging in what Allah has given them. And even if you do your checks and balances, it's up to Allah to decide. It's up to Allah to decide. And this is why we are Muslims. Okay, we submit to the will of Allah. So it's up to Allah to decide. And in Allah's decision, in his decision, there's nothing contrary. That's why Allah says to seek help with patience and pray. Right? Because and trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what's going on there on a small scale, going on in different parts of the world. Even in your own life, there are things that perhaps Allah put in power over you and you haven't been able to conquer it as yet. Because perhaps you have to conquer yourself first. And this is how Ramadan comes in. And all these different things, the tahajjud and giving charity and all these different things, to balance the scale. But Allah could decide just to leave it like that, or to empower you, or to make you a martyr, like how we did to the people in Egypt. I mean, in Israel. So if you don't understand some of these things, okay, it can cause you weakness of faith. And it's not a good thing. It is not a good thing to, because of lack of understanding, we see people leaving the deen. And what we are saying here is that we know we must hope. Okay, there's a big word. Okay, from this ayat, we must hope. Okay, that, and look at the other side of things, that wherever you have given also the means to function in life is Allah's reverence for you. It's Allah's consideration for you. It doesn't have to do much, you're born, you're smart. Or being smart comes from birth. You see children from young, they're smart. Where they get it? They went and buy it in the shop, or you drink something for them to get it. Okay, so those things come from Allah, and that we have to recognize Allah's, how he operates. Okay, within that context. So we must have hope, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us has been considered to us, and that we believe. Okay, we don't pass out. And next thing you know, you are leaving the deen. So you have those signs in your life, and those signs in creation that supposed to put a reverence for Allah in your heart, and also to remind you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has equally considered you. Okay, he has reverence for you, and that is something that you should not forget. Okay, that is something you should never ever forget from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So let us continue. Ayah 14.
While he has created you in stages.
That part of the consideration that we should have is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also created us in stages. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us in stages. Okay? And as they say that you have the stage of first you have the egg in the woman, and then you have the sperm, and then they come together, and then the process of creation begins. And he used the word atwar. All right? And it is a condition of being like clinging to something, and that's how Allah described in the stomach of the woman, of the pregnant woman, the sperm clings, and from that the stages begins. So you go to the stages, if you can remember your biology, to zygote, and okay, and then there's a stage where the baby, or the creation in the womb, is neither male or female, and then it becomes a male or a female. Okay, and then the full child, and then it is you are born. So Allah says that all these factors, okay, all these factors that you should take into consideration. Okay, all these factors you as a person should take into consideration in your transaction with Allah, because the deen, Islam, is a transaction. Because Allah said that He has bought from the believers, He has purchased them from the believers. Okay, and their life and the return, He purchased it, and He will give you in return Jannah. Okay, so that's why Islam is called a deen. The word deen also means a transaction between two people. Okay, so Allah says that He has created you in stages. So, and He says that because He wants men and women to consider. You see, as a Muslim, we don't go through life drive. We should go through life as a conscious person, conscious of our existence. Alive to the situations we find ourselves in, and alive to how we negotiate things in life with ourselves, our inner self, and with our outer selves. Because we have seen Muslims, going through different phases, and when I see Muslims and myself go through all these different phases, it reminds me of that hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where the Prophet says that, a person will do all the deeds of a person of paradise. Okay? You do all the deeds of a person of paradise. And then the decree will overcome you. And then you do works of the people of hell, and you enter the Jahannam, you enter the fire. And then he said there's somebody who do all the works of a person of the fire. You see, you're going straight to hell because of your works. And then the decree will overcome him. And then he will enter the Jannah, the garden, right? And to me, that is a frightening, if you think of it, I've always been thinking about that. It's a very frightening revelation. It's a very frightening statement from the Prophet ﷺ, right? Because Allah knows us intimately. Even if we fool ourselves, Allah knows us. So you might be doing works of paradise. You have everything together, your Jannah, everything. You're passing. You see this man going to Jannah, right? But then there might be something in you that you didn't clean up. Something in you that will make you trip and fall. Something in you, and that Allah knows that, and He can make you aware of it if you have a relationship with His book, because in His book Allah exposes all these things to give you consciousness. So if you had a connection with His book, and connection with Islam, and connection with the proper scholarship, then you will have been aware of some of these pitfalls that we as a human being have. And that is why what we call today, quote unquote, Sufism came about, because it was an intimate relationship between you and Allah, and an intimate relationship with yourself. Okay, and of course, when people do all kind of crazy thing, but the thing in itself, right? It was called Zuhd, right? And it's only later it was called Sufism, but it's called Zuhd. This means doing it out. You really attack your ego. You have what is Buddhist thing I want to talk about, right? The ego and the self. Okay, and so Allah is saying that look at your creation. You are created in stages, and look at us in life. We go through stages. We go through childhood. We go through teenage. Then we become adults, and then we become family, fathers and mothers, and then we become grandparents, and then we're knocking on the side of the coffin, right? Okay, all these are stages, right? And all of us are at different stages. Some people are in a similar stage, but in a sense, all of us are in a stage. So what do we mean that the decree overcoming? It means that what Allah knows of you becomes manifest. But people just take that to mean, so Allah put me in hell then. So no. You put yourself in hell. It's just that you cannot stop Allah from knowing. Allah knows who you are. And if he doesn't cover you with His mercy, then you will suffer that. Right? And that is why the Prophet also said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that Dua, change the decree. What does it mean by that? Because dua is part of the decree. What is decree? Allah says, on his throne, my mercy, okay, overcomes my wrath. There's also a decree. So if you don't tap into that decree to overcome your own personal decree, because there's also a decree. Right? So that somebody was saying, so we say Allah changed his mind. No, he ain't changed his mind. He maybe has, see this man, if he continue on this particular way, he'll go to hell. And those things become manifest in him. But that same individual started to call on Allah for guidance, call on Allah for help, call on Allah for assistance. Right? And he by that now, he ignites another aspect of the decree. What's the other part of the decree? That Allah mercy, okay, will overcome his wrath. Okay, so that's why that hadith is found in Nawawi 40 hadiths. You should go and read it and really try to memorize it. Okay, because it's important. And two, in life, okay, we have something called patience. Okay, because to keep up struggle, to keep up worship, to keep up being a Muslim, okay, some people get tired. Okay, you can get tired. Especially if you approach Islam in a wrong way. What do I mean by that? The Prophet Islam said, do things constantly. You know, some people, okay, I want to start really practicing. I want to get up every night and make 15 rakat tahajjud. First 3 nights they do it, next 3 nights they knock out. Right? He says, do things, right? Even if it's small, but constant. Because Imam Malik said that Allah don't get tired. You can't tire out Allah. Okay? And that is why some companions was like that, praying and thinking, and then the Prophet tell them, hey, your body have rights over you. Your eyes have rights over you. Your children have, you know. So when you put in yourself into all these things, you could be harming yourself in a way. So give everything its due. Okay, but the thing is about in Islam, the key is to be constant. Okay, look at this man in the guy who driving into the people in America there. I think it's in Louisiana. You drive a car into a crowd and he says a Muslim, right? And he said one of the things he told people that he was thinking about changing himself and whatever, and then like he started to get like statements in his head, you know, about you should do this and you should do that and you should join ISIS and do that and bump it, you know. So you remember too, we have an adversary called Shaitan, right? And Shaitan has lived long enough because Allah gave him respite until the day of Qiyamah. Remember that. Allah gave him respite. Respite means he allowed him to do whatever he wanted to do until the day of judgment. Okay, so you remember, so he knows you intimately. Shaitan knows you because he knew your father, Adam alayhi salam. And with that knowledge, Shaitan worked on this guy. The guy was in a space where he could have go right or left, but Shaitan came in and put these thoughts in his head. He said that. He said these thoughts started coming in his head. We say this all died before he died. He was telling one of his family that these thoughts started coming in his head. You see? And that is what we call the waswas. Okay, so that when it comes to the waswas. And, we have to be very, very careful of that. Especially in crucial times in our lives, when we're making changes, we have to be careful of the thoughts that comes in our mind, because, those thoughts could be very detrimental to us. Okay? Because because they might want to carry you in a certain direction. And so that man, you see, was a practicing Muslim all his life. Never was into that. He was in the army. He was whatever he was, all different kind of stuff he was. He's a cool guy. And we just see that. We just see it happen, But what happened to you, boy, just so he tripped? Okay, why? Because we leave out the factor of the waswas. Okay, where he think that the thing that will deliver him now is doing that action. But he think it's a good action because he didn't seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and put the action to ask in Allah if this is a good action or if this is a bad action. And that is something that we don't do much. Like the people in the traditional religion, some of them, before they go out, when they get up in the morning, they do they take stones and throw, what should I do today? Should I go here? Should I do that? And they throw stones. They cast lots then. Okay, or they ask the spirits what they think to do. Right? Now, those spirits will tell them what they want them to do. But as Muslims, we have a spiritual aspect that we don't use, It's called istikhara. That's how we cast lots now. The Prophet used to cast lots too. Whether you want to travel with this wife or that wife or certain things you want to do. Right? But then to the spiritual aspect too, we have istikhara. Which means that, when we make decisions, make 2 rakat. And make the dua and ask Allah to incline your heart to that which is best. And now some people say, how the kind of istikhara a lot of us just make. We don't make up our mind to do something. Then we do the istikhara for it. What do you think you'll get? You only get what you put in your mind. You're supposed to go in istikhara empty-minded. I don't know exactly which one to do. And then you make it start. Don't make up your mind and then when somebody say, I make istikhara, man, Allah say go this way, though. You just make istikhara to validate what is already in your brains. You give Allah a chance to inspire you with what is the correct way. You misuse the istikhara. And that is something that I find that a lot of us, we cut off from the spiritual aspects of Islam, and we don't benefit from it. Right? Next thing I know, I might see you on TV saying I was a Muslim. Now we are following Jesus, and because Muslims have nothing in it. And because what kind of Muslim he was? They just never say. And trust me, if you want to be a famous man or woman in these times here, to have money and to have wealth and popularity, just go on the TV and say, I was a Muslim and Islam is bad. And they take it to America, they take it to England, they take it to France. You'll be on the internet, you'll be hitting it. That's what this is the opposition we are up against. We are up against the Christians. We are up against the Jews. We are up against the politics. In the politics, the people who say there's democrats. We are up against the socialists. We are up against the communists. We are up against the secularists. We are up against the materialists. We are up against the atheists. We are up against some of the sciences that calls for no creation. We shouldn't believe in Allah. Came from animals, the great ape, and all these different things. So today, to be somebody who call into Islam, you have to be really grounded, properly study and grounded. And what I have found is that a lot of people believe that they read 1 or 2 books and they feel they could go there and do dawah. Right? The state of dawah has changed. I've seen it. The state of dawah has changed because these people now go in and study our books and coming to us and raising questions. And a lot of it they bring weak hadiths because our scholars recorded everything. But see, I see that. Like for example, in the Tafsir of Ibn Kathir, where Allah says that He sent a messenger, and He backed it up with two other messengers, and they said that one of the two messengers was Paul. Muslims in the past in Ibn Kathir actually wrote that, and we know that Paul was a deceiver. Paul destroyed the religion of Isa alayhi salam. But if you don't know that, you will say, yeah, well, the Quran support Paul. When the Quran support that? Well, I see, read Ibn Kathir. That's Tafsir. That's a man's opinion. You see? So this is what we are faced with today. So it's not that from a long time you're going to talk to a man reasoning. But now it becomes more. And even if you defeat somebody else coming back with us will see that and come back with us same argument to you, and over and over and over. So sometimes you have to check yourself. Okay, so now we are straight. All of these things are related because it is to do with your life. And a next thing I would like to speak about also is that your relationship with the Quran, right? Because the Prophet says in the Quran, there's a prophecy that his people, this is one of the complaints he will make on the day of judgment, that my people have ignored the Quran. This is what the Prophet Islam will say on the day of judgment. Because people will take time to listen to a scholar, take time to listen to that, take time to listen to this, and they will never even go and see what the book say. They will not even go and open up the relationship, with this book, which is very, very important because everything in this book, in one way or other, will affect your life. Allah say the Jews and the Christians will never be pleased with you. Right? In the past, they did not agree with us religiously. But in the modern age, we are faced with the Judeo-Christian society. The only time the Jews and the Christians came together is in the modern age. But Allah talk about that long time. Allah put them together a long time. So there's a prophecy. But if you're not engaged with the book, how will you know that? So when somebody come and tell you, well, as a Muslim, Allah says, do not take the disbelievers for a friend. A Muslim might tell you. But then Allah says in the Quran that you can marry the people of the book. Is that a contradiction? Right? So it means that he's not talking about marriage. He's talking about a different kind of relationship in the politics and in the social and in the culture. Right? And some people say, well, was different Christians? No, it was same Christians. Allah say in the Quran, do not say three. Who he was talking to is Christians, just like who says, in our days saying it's Trinity. So some of those Christians, but in these days, there are more Christians who are Unitarians than now. But also, Caliph Uthman was married to a Christian and she eventually became a Muslim. The Prophet himself was married to a Jew, Safia. Okay? So we're not speaking, so you can't say it's different Christians. Okay? It's just more of Trinitarians. In those days, there are a lot of people who believe in unity of Allah and were Christians, but today we have different, it pan out differently. So, but then you have to know your book. I know, as I always advise people, if you do not prepare yourself properly to give dawah, only give dawah to your level. When you reach a question, don't be ashamed to say, look, I'll come back at you. Let me go and find out. Because what will happen, you make Islam look weak. And at no point in time we should ever make Islam look weak. Okay, so just continue. So Allah says that so we shall ponder, and in this verse, the people of Tafsir said it is wajib for us to make takafur, to us to ponder, okay, on our creation and ponder on the world around us. Okay, that we should ponder, think about these things. You know, somebody and this is what Jalalain say here, that it is wajib. Okay, he say as regards the creation, okay, it is wajib in iman. Iman necessitates that we ponder on creation. Okay, iman. You know we have. You know, when the angel Jibril came, he said, tell me about Islam. Tell them what is Islam. Tell me about Iman. Tell them about Iman. Tell me, you know, about Hassan. Okay, we have levels in this deen. So in Iman, in the level of Iman, level of faith. And Iman don't really mean faith. Faith is just one word for Iman, but it has more meanings. Iman also means confirmation. Right, Fred? What do I mean by that? I've never seen an angel. You have never seen an angel. And if you see an angel, you will know it's an angel, because the angel will take on the form of a human being. So you might know it's an angel. Okay, maybe the encounter after that time might say, but that might be an angel. Okay, so we know angel exists. I've never seen an angel. I've never seen heaven or hell. I've never seen the punishment at the grave. I've never seen all those things that Allah mentioned. Okay, so how can I confirm faith in these things that I've never seen? Am I just a blind follower? And Allah talk against being blind following. Here it goes. There are other things that Allah confirm in the Quran, like the Prophet of Muhammad, the truthfulness of the Quran. So if we confirm those things about the messenger, about the book, and about Islam, we know that Islam is the truth. Right? The other aspects of Islam that we can't see with our eyes, right? We confirm that also because we believe in the truthfulness of the Prophet Muhammad. Okay, let me break it down again. Somebody you trust, right? He come up to you and say, look, don't go around that corner because there are some people who will harm you. Right? You could be stupid and say, well, me and see nobody who could harm you. How we know, you know? But if you trust in the person, you'll believe in something that you never see. I've not seen. Something you have not known. So this is what I mean. There are things that we can confirm, and based on these things that we confirm, we have faith in the other things that he has says. This is what I mean by that faith is also confirmation. And when you are confirming those things, Allah will give you insight, okay, about those other things to strengthen your faith. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Allah will give you insight with those things that you cannot see to strengthen your faith. So let us continue.
Do you not consider how Allah has created 7 heavens in layers?
So again, Allah is pointing out creation to you. So do you not see that how Allah created what? Okay, what Allah created? 7 heavens. Okay. None of us never seen that. We somehow doing so own a telescope. Right? Some of us don't even own a telescope. So how can we, Allah says, do you not see how Allah created the 7 heavens, one above the other? Okay? So again, we live in this world. We know there's a heaven there, Samawat, what we call the galactical heaven, and there are Sabah Samawat, there are 7 other heavens. Okay? It's only in the last 20 or 25 years they sent up a telescope called Galileo, where they can peep into the heavens. Right? So can Galileo see the other heavens? Or just it has so much to see in our layer? Okay? So I like saying that do you not see? Right? No, Allah knows that we cannot see the same with our physical eyes. Okay? So Jalain saying tandur, to see with your eyes and also to contemplate. Okay, or to consider. Right? Because and you will get that knowledge from the people who are engaged in science. Just like I told you, if a good friend come and tell you so and so and so, so with people to get this knowledge of the Sabah Samawat, the 7 heavens, okay, we have to consider people who know. Okay, so Allah is telling this Bedouin people, unsophisticated people, that there are 7 heavens. Sabah Samawat. Could you imagine this man in the desert, or this man in a tongue with mud huts? You have enough trouble in life to think about 7 layers. You could just see what you see in there. That's 1 layer. But because it came from a trustworthy source, somebody who created the 7 and the earth, it's only after it's only after this person dies and we come to the modern age. We have confirmed things in the Quran that even Umar and Abu Bakr didn't know. They just accept it on the veracity of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman. Okay, they accept it on this man is Sadiq. This man is truthful. Okay? When they talk about the clinging in the room and all them things, they never see that. A first year biology, a primary school child knows that. Umar didn't have that luxury. Uthman didn't have that luxury. And yet, they show stronger faith than us. They exemplify stronger faith than us. So much things that the Quran spoke about has been confirmed. So much things that the Quran spoke to us about has been confirmed by modern science. And yet, we're trembling and falling short. Why? Because we haven't put those things in a perspective. We haven't related those things to us. I did in school we did biology. We saw we had to go through the stages of the zygote and all these different things about in the womb and the development of the child and all these things. We did that in school. But some of us have never made the connection between that and your deen. Allah told Umar about that. But he believed it because he believed that Muhammad SAW was a truthful man. We now, seeing it with our naked eyes, and yet we have doubts. So we have to think about, about these things. So, and then I say, Kaifa khalaqallah sab'a samawat. How Allah created what? the seven heavens, right? And Tibak. Tibak means how are the seven heavens? This is the knowledge he gave the Bedouins, or the people at that age, without the telescope. You see, these people, you see, these heavens, okay, are one on top of the other. Tibak. You know, like those beds, you know, those bunk beds, double decker. You see, imagine 1 decker, 3 decker, 4 decker, you know, it's like that. Tibak. It's like that. Okay? But some people in the world, during that time when this Quran was revealed, some people had understood this. The Egyptians had understood this. Now, up to now, we don't know if they had telescope, because there's a people in Africa, and they said that there was a star, right? Today the star is called Sirius, Sirius, and they talk about this star, and they spoke about there was another star next day. They call it the Wobbler, and it's only about maybe 25 or 35 years ago, modern science confirmed the existence of this star. How did these people see that? How did they know that? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now come in Surah Najm, the star, and Allah come and say, He is Lord of that star. Sirius. This is in the Quran. He's Lord of Sirius. Right? So some people have confirmed that star. Okay, but the Arabs didn't know. A lot of people didn't know. You know, up to now they thought that was fairy tale, you know. So my little contribution to how I think they knew is that I believe they got that knowledge from the jinns. You know, we just think jinns, we're too spooky. Jinns are people like me and you. But they are different types of people. And they have different powers than us. We live in one dimension. Right? And that will Allah say, the hereafter. Okay, so when the Prophet says something, when you die, there's something called barzakh. Okay, that is separation between our existence and the next life. So once you cross that barzakh, you die. So nobody does really dare and come back. That is nonsense. Unless Allah bring you back, unless Allah raise you through the word of a prophet or something like that. Other than that, I'm talking about generally. Okay. Once you cross that barzakh is when you allow permission through a prophet, or as we say, Jesus, Allah Islam raised the dead, as Ezekiel raised the dead, as all these people, Allah gave them that power to bring back that soul. But Allah doing it, bringing it back, right? Because a miracle is something that breaks the normal things of life. That's what a miracle means. Something abnormal. It breaks the normal things. So we're talking about normal life, right? And that barzakh, right? Now, some people did and have experience where they see certain things and they couldn't go forward. You know, that is true. I personally had that experience. You know, I personally had experience like I was just sitting by a door. But that's how I understood it. And sitting by that door. Okay, so you're not going forward, you're not going backwards. You know, and the nurse had told me that when I got up from the coma, she said that you can remember I was in your chest and pumping. I said, I can remember that now. You know, she said your heart had stopped. You see? So, you know what I mean? It are other things I could tell you about, but I won't tell you that on internet, because people just get too spooky. You know, I few people I tell, I'll just tell about the door for now. You know, so you reach that point on the door. You know, like if you just like to me, like it was like a door, close. And so when I hear people, when I listen to people who had those experiences, I say, yeah, that's what happened. You know, some people see beyond the door, but they ain't go beyond the door. Okay, so all these things. So I feel, coming back to the point, I don't want to frighten anybody, but coming back to the point, you know, these ancient people sometimes, you know, they work with the jinns. Okay? And we're even Allah told you that sometimes when you see these flaming meters, you know, some of the jinns try to steal. And Allah said in the Quran, correct? They try to steal information and Allah chase them with these meteorites. Okay? So there's activity that goes on. For example, look at Saturn, one of the planets. Okay? There's a hole that looks like a hexagon. Okay? Look like a 6-point star. And it's only these times people have confirmed that. But the people in the past knew that. And so much so that, and that information comes from people who used to practice sorcery. That's why there's so much talk around that 6-point star. Okay, it is called a hexagon. Hex means magic. To put a hex on you, or put a spell on you. Okay, so this is all my confirmation that knowledge also come from the jinn. And last confirmation, before we stop and continue tomorrow, last confirmation is that the guy who invented the fuel, okay, the guy who invented the fuel to take the rockets to the, you know, to do rockets, carry rockets to the moon or wherever, right? He was a practice sorcerer. He's a practice sorcery, magic, obia. We say obia. And he said he got that information, okay, from a spirit called Dajjal. This is what he wrote in his diary. Okay, how to make the fuel to go to the, you know, because Allah says you can penetrate the skies if you can, but you can only do it by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, so Allah hint that one day people will be able to pierce our region and go into outer space. Okay, but the information to get that came from this man. He practiced sorcery. It's on the internet. Okay, you know, and he wrote his diaries about it. So it's not no story, not an unreal story. Okay, so for now, so Allah says he created the in layers. Okay, he created the heavens in layers, and we have come to confirm that in our times. Continue.
وجعل القمر فيهن نورا وجعل الشمس سراجا.
Okay, and then he says, and Allah has made the moon. Okay, and he has made the sun a burning light. Right? And Allah says, وَجَعَلْنَا الْقَمَرَ. Allah has made the moon. And he said, and in it, there's a light. Right? And that light also goes back to the stars too, because you say fihina. Hina is plural. Okay? And so we know that the moon reflects. There's a light that reflects the sun. And then Allah says that, and he made the sun, you have made the sun a siraj, you know, like a lantern, like a bright star, you know. So the moon now reflects the the light from the sun is reflected, because it's reflected on the moon. So that's how the moon becomes a light. Okay, when the moon brightens up like that, like a full moon, you see it bright, it is reflecting the sun. The sun is another part of the world, so that's how we know the world is round. Okay, that's how we know the world is round. Okay, so the moon there is just a reflection of the light of the sun. Okay, and science tells us that today. The Quran tells us that long ago, that the moon reflects the light of the sun. So all of these things are just confirmation. Confirmation which the point I'm trying to make is that there was a time in history when this message came out. There was no way people could have confirmed this. And in these times, because of the advancement of knowledge and technology, we are able to confirm these things. Yet, it don't strengthen our iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It don't strengthen our iman in the truthfulness of this way of life. It don't strengthen our patience. It don't see that our whole existence is from one stage to the next. So you have to have patience. You know, the parents will say you're forthright. You know, you take a green mango, you put it in a drawer, something, wrap it in newspaper, and you get right. It forthright. You force it to right. Why? Because you're trying to skip stages. It's the same thing to do with those chicken. You know, they have a chicken, a chicken come, an adult chicken in 2 months, 3 months. You know, they're messing with creation. Okay, and then that now will have a negative effect on your health. And then you might cancer and all these different things, and then you'll borrow God. Why God do that? God treat me bad. But if you're taking things out of their natural state, what do you expect? Okay, so, you know, we know force-ripe children doesn't end up in trouble. Right? So anything force-ripe in nature will also have trouble in it. So, and all these things Allah is talking about here is to draw your attention, is because it is concerned with Iman, all these things. And that the pillar of Iman demands us, it makes wajib on us to reflect on creation, our creation and outside creation. Okay, so I'd like to stop there. Any questions, and we'll continue tomorrow, inshallah.